Hi everybody, welcome to the lab for week 2, chapter number 4 in ACE 427. In this example we're going to see how a farmer might use a pretty common marketing strategy to reduce his price risk a little bit, but also be exposed to some of the changing prices over the growing season. So the setup for this problem is we're going to consider a farmer who's trying to decide how to price their crop. And they don't know at the beginning of the growing season whether the price is going to go up or down, but they're not willing to just lock in the price at the beginning of the season, say on May 1st or some other date. So what they decide to do is to just sell on the 1st of every month a fixed percentage of their crop. And this is actually a strategy that many farmers undertake pretty routinely because in some years you'll do good with it, and some years you'll do bad, but you should more or less come out with the average price over the season if you take this approach. So you're guaranteed at least to do that, and so it's not like you're going to price all your crop on May 1st and then have the price spike on May 2nd and you miss out on all those gains. So this is a fairly popular strategy, and we'll see how this plays out in this hedging example. So the setup is this. The farmer's going to plant 2,000 acres to corn, and he expects to get a yield of 160 bushels per acre. So potentially he's got 320,000 bushels of corn to hedge, and that's equivalent to 64 futures contracts. So in this example, the farmer should sell roughly 10 contracts each month, and then on the last month he'll have 14 contracts to sell instead of 10 to make up for the extra 4. If he decides to sell a fixed proportion on May 1st, June 1st, July 1st, August 1st, September 1st, and October 1st. Of course, we could have distributed those 4 extra contracts throughout the months, but I'm just going to keep it easy in this case. So what you're supposed to do for the assignment is to go through and fill out the highlighted cells to illustrate what's really going on with this marketing strategy. So the first thing we want to remember is when a farmer places a hedge, should they buy or sell futures contracts? And like I said, you gotta, at the end of this class, one of my biggest goals is that you'll know the answer to those hedging questions like that on the drop of a hat. So of course, if a farmer's going to hedge with futures, their business is selling cash grain, so to hedge that sale, they should sell ahead in the futures market. So we'll write sell here. And we already kind of talked through this column. If we're going to sell a fixed proportion of our crop on the 1st of every month, it's going to look something along the lines of this. Sell 10 contracts, 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 and sell 14. It wouldn't be incorrect if you did 11, 11, 11, 11, 10, 10, but I'm just going to do it the easy way here. All right, so here in this column, I've got the actual prices on these dates for the December 2016 futures contract. So these are very close to what the actual prices would have looked like for a farmer executing this strategy in crop year 2016. Okay, so what I want us to do is go through here and write down any action in the cash market, action in the futures market, and here I'm just looking for a buy or a sell or an NA if you're not going to do any of those actions on that date. Okay, so this column is going to be pretty easy for a while because we know the crop on May 1st is actually still in the field. He's not going to sell it till the end of the season, and we're going to call the end of the season December 1st for this example. So I'm going to put an A, and we're not going to do anything in the cash market all the way through November. Okay, and we can note here that yes, on December 1st we are going to sell in the cash market. Okay, so let's talk about the futures market. So here we know we're going to sell, and we're going to sell 10. And that's going to be true all the way to here. And we don't have anything to do in November because by November we've already priced the whole crop. So I'm going to put an NA here. And then what do we do? Oops, I see my autocomplete was not working so great. So give me a moment while I fix this. Sorry if that was confusing you on the video. You can figure it out by now. Okay, and we'll fix this to 14. Basically, this column should match these numbers over here. What are we going to do on the 1st of December? We're going to close out that position, and so we're going to buy 64. That's going to completely wipe out all of those sales and get us completely flat. Now, I just remember I didn't want to highlight these cells for you because I wanted to make it clear. I don't want you to calculate anything until you get down here. So now we're going to calculate the futures net profit or loss from all of these hedge positions, and then we'll use that to compute our net price received, which we'll combine with our cash price. So we have to do it month by month because we're moving sort of the base of these future sales along by selling once per month. So the first time we make a sale, we get 408.50. So that should be 408.5 minus, and when we buy it back at this price, or buy 64. Okay, and I'm going to make this times 10 because we're going to have to keep track of the weights so that when we do the average, it'll all be weighted appropriately. So for 10 contracts, this is the price gain I got. Plus, the next month, I got this price, sold 10 at that price, and I bought it back at this price. Also 10 contracts. Now in July, I sold for this price, bought it back in December for this price. Also 10 contracts. Plus in August, I sold this price minus price in December. Also 10 contracts. Plus, we're still on a 10 row, so I sold for this price minus the price I bought it back for in December. Still selling 10 in that month. And one more time. This is our 14 month. So I did sell those at $354.75 minus the price in December I bought it back for. And this time I sold 14 of them. Okay. So that's all those price changes that we have to keep track of. I'm interested in the average or the per bushel gain or loss that we undertook from that. So I'm going to put parentheses around that expression and divide by 64. Because of course if we add up all these cells, it should equal 64. Okay, so it looks like I only increased my cash price sale by 3 cents and a little change, but that's okay. Better than nothing, right? One thing I forgot to include for this video is that I'm telling you that the basis is 25 cents under, so you can just assume that the cash price is $351.5, and that is on your Excel spreadsheet that you've got in the that you've got to download. Let me make this a number so it looks correct. Now the net price received is simply the cash price that you went and sold at the elevator for, plus any gain or loss in the futures market. So we gained a little bit from our futures hedge where we took that, where we tried to get the average price of the season. So our net price received after hedging by hedging a fixed percentage of our crop each month was about $354.66. Now, if you think about it, the strategy was designed to give you the average price of the season. So you could check that that's pretty close to what we got by taking the average of those monthly prices. And it probably makes more sense to leave out December and October because we had already hedged everything by then. And that's pretty close to what we got. Okay. So that kind of concludes this example and concludes the homework assignment for this week. So make sure you understand how hedging works and why it reduces price uncertainty. And for the exam, make sure you could do an example like this, where I provide you tables on paper and ask you to do these calculations yourself. And also make sure you could work through any table provided in the text on your own for an exam, because that would be also fair game. All right, guys, I'll see you in class, and we'll work it out in class too. Bye.